beautiful world.
Today, we're journeying back in time, to the roaring 20s, an era of jazz, ambition, and shadows. We're going to uncover the story of a man who became a legend in southern Illinois. A name whispered in both fear and admiration, Charlie Birger. Picture this. It's the height of prohibition. The sale of alcohol is illegal, but the thirst for it is stronger than ever. This created a power vacuum, a Wild West scenario, in the heart of America, and men like Charlie Birger were ready to fill it. Born Shachnai Birger in the Russian Empire, his family immigrated to the United States seeking a better life. Young Charlie grew up tough, and by the time he was a young man, he had already served in the US Army. But civilian life in the 1920s offered a different kind of battlefield. With the 18th Amendment in full effect, Birger saw an opportunity. He wasn't just some small-time bootlegger. He was an entrepreneur of the underworld. He built a formidable operation, an empire of illegal taverns, or speakeasies, scattered across the region. His headquarters was a heavily armed roadhouse called Shady Rest, a place that became infamous. It wasn't just about selling whiskey. It was about control. Birger and his gang used armored trucks, machine guns, and even airplanes to protect their turf and transport their illicit goods. He was a businessman, albeit one whose business was entirely outside the law. But Birger's world was far from simple. His primary rivals were the notorious Shelton Brothers gang. This wasn't just a business rivalry. It was an all-out war. The conflict between the Birger gang and the Shelton gang raged for years, turning parts of southern Illinois into a battleground. Car chases, ambushes, and strategic bombings of rival establishments became terrifyingly common. It was a brutal fight for dominance over the lucrative bootlegging trade, and both sides were willing to go to incredible lengths to win. What makes Birger's story so complex, however, is that he wasn't just seen as a gangster. To many local residents, he was a kind of folk hero. He was known for his generosity, often giving money to families in need and helping out the local community. In a time of hardship, his Robin Hood-like reputation earned him a great deal of loyalty and support from ordinary people who felt left behind by the government. He even positioned himself as a protector against the Ku Klux Klan, which was a powerful and menacing force in the area at the time. He openly fought against them, adding another layer to his persona as a defender of the common man. This duality is what makes him so fascinating. Was he a ruthless criminal, a man who built an empire on violence and illegal enterprise, or was he a product of his time, a protector of his community, who operated by his own code of justice? The truth, as it often is, likely lies somewhere in the middle. He was a complex figure, embodying the contradictions of the Prohibition era itself. Eventually, the law caught up. The constant violence and flagrant disregard for federal law couldn't be ignored forever. After a long and complicated series of investigations and trials, Charlie Birger was arrested, not for bootlegging, but for ordering the murder of a local mayor. The evidence was overwhelming. In 1928, he was sentenced to hang. The day of his execution became the final, most enduring chapter of his legend. On a clear spring morning in Benton, Illinois, as he stood on the gallows, he was asked if he had any last words. He looked out at the world around him, smiled, and said simply, "It's a beautiful world." With those words, Charlie Birger, the soldier, the bootlegger, the gangster, and the folk hero passed from history into legend. His story reminds us that the line between hero and villain can sometimes be as murky as the bootleg whiskey he sold. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of America's most compelling outlaw legends. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from history's hidden corners. Let me know in the comments what you think about Charlie Birger.